Hello Myers family, this is Martina, and today this video is to talk through the process that I went through to find out about our family tree, and hopefully you will learn and I will get some more information from this. And this information is a collaboration of information from Noki's family research. I talked to my mom for endless hours over the past few weeks, and good old-fashioned research. I picked up some research skills over the years, so I try to use those to help me with this. With that said, it is a start, so feel free to continue this research. You may find that I made mistakes or that I could have done something different, so I just want us to have a start. And as you see on your screen, you will see that there are several websites that I use. Feel free to use those sources. Most of the information came from the census, which means that people interacted with each other. And as human beings, we're going to make mistakes. So as a result, some names, dates, birthdays, and other important information will be misspelled on some of the census. Like, for example, platter was spelled 3 different ways. And even so, years could be off, up to 5 years. During this time, African Americans, they did not really take as much care to really document our ages as much, and also for a while, there were no social security cards or numbers. Some people received a social security number after they were already, well into their adult life. So that also kind of would throw off the amount of years that someone was here documented. The closer we get to the 1800s, the more inaccurate the birthdays will be, especially for blacks, and it could be around 5 years off. So take that into account if you decide to do your own research and as you're looking at this today. Good, let's get started. We have a whole lot in store. So this is my DNA. This is from 23andme.com, and it's also the DNA that comes from mom. It's the they use what's called the mitochondria to get the DNA from mom. So we as a Myers family, 88.7% sub-Saharan African, 74.4% of that is from West Africa. We're going to see how that looks as I break it down a little bit later. And 0.8% is Central and South African. Now, when they couldn't clearly determine it, they would say non-specific, but that still means it comes from Africa. So we're dominantly, of course, Africans, as we know. 8.9% comes from our European heritage, and we're going to see how that ties into it as well. You're going to see that through when we go into the names and background information. 0.1% is British and Irish, and then you'll see, a great deal of it, they're not sure. And that's because the DNA was so widespread across the continent, they can't specify just to a particular area. You also see that we are 0.3% Asian and Native American, which, I think earlier we thought we had more Native American, but that could be, that could be in that 2.1 unassigned part, which means that they couldn't decide exactly where the DNA belonged because it could have been from multiple cultures. It was across multiple continents. So that could be more of our Native American side, or it could be more of our European side, or it could be more of our African side. They're not 100% sure. You see here, this is our haplogroup. And again, you will see that that's our strand L3F1B3. And knowing that is important when you're doing your DNA because it lets you know what group you belong to. With ours, of course, that means that we belong to the African group. And you see how, other DNA groups have different haplogroups. And ours, current populations that have it are Yoruba, Fobi, African Americans usually have this. And if you want to, pause this at any time, you can pause and read this information. Our haplogroup of L3F is still found in modern day Sudanese and Ethiopian citizens. So on the left, you will see Sudanese beauty queen, and actually just won 2013. I think it was Miss World, actually. And then Ethiopian model on the right hand side. To me, some of these features look familiar. Complexion makes me think about, grandma's complexion with the Sudanese and high cheekbones, and a lot of Ethiopians have curly hair or things like that. And you will see that those just few items that I noticed as I was doing my research, that I can tell those features that we have. This is how much DNA we share with someone from sub-Saharan Africa. You'll see on the right-hand side, everything in red is sub-Saharan African. But in particular, we really kind of focus with the Ethiopian and Sudanese. You see that we only have 2 parts of our DNA that does not connect with someone from Africa. So that is very important to know that we're dominantly African. And that we share with someone from North Africa, that deals more with Egypt and Algeria, Libya, etc. We don't have as much. If you see, the orange has decreased, but we are still, dominantly African. So that's why that, other percentage comes from. Here, also this surprised me with the Near East. We share quite a bit of DNA with people from the Near East. Of course, that could be from Egypt, which is also still in Africa. It could be Saudi Arabia, could be Iran. Any of those areas, we share DNA with them. So our family could have descended from there as well. This is how much DNA we share with someone from Europe. You will see we only have one section of our DNA that actually connects with someone who's a direct descendant from Europe. So that's just that one little orange tab at the bottom. If you see South Asia and in Eastern Asia, that deals with like Pakistan, India, Afghanistan, China, Korea, Japan, etc. 2 of our segments come from that. You see 2 little orange peaches at the bottom. So that goes back to what we saw earlier. That's how we connect with our DNA. Here it's the same for the Oceanias and Americas. This kind of goes back to the Native American part. It's the same 2 sections that deal with that. So again, those are the same. We have a very small percentage, but it is present. We have our genetics done. We're going to start taking a look at names from our family tree.